So, can you tell us a little bit about the inspiration of the dolls and how you started it?
Sure. The Giving Doll all started with I was the home ec teacher at Wadsworth High School, and one of my student teachers, little girl, had an operable brain tumor and went to St. Jude's, came back and said, "Is there something you could make that I could take to the kids at St. Jude's?" And I said, "What'd you have in mind?" She said, "A doll, because dolls are so huggable." And so I came up with this doll. I'd used it somewhat before when I was teaching, but she wanted pockets. So you can see in the dolls, they all have pockets or big cuffs because she wrote poetry. And she wanted to put her poems in and then take them around to the kids. I made 10. That was back in 2006. I made 10 and thought, I'm done. I felt so good about helping her. And then she came back, "Can you make some more?"
Of course.
So I got a group together at the senior center in Wadsworth, and we started making dolls, and we made them for her. But then there's so many other kids that could use the hug of a doll, especially a homemade doll. So much love in these dolls. So we started making them for Catherine, but also other kids like house fires, police stations,
Gotcha.
military. And so it has continued. Catherine died after 13 months,
Okay.
but we continue. And today we have donated almost 63,000 dolls. I have groups in 12 different states, probably about 800 volunteers nationwide.
Wow.
We've given dolls to 64 foreign countries and kids in every state.
Wow.
You cannot buy a doll. They have to be given to a child that is going through a life crisis of some sort, something
Yeah.
in their life that, gee, if I could just hug a doll, talk to the doll,
Yeah.
and love on a doll, it makes a difference.
So I was gonna ask about like the pockets. What else? I saw some bags over there. What else do you guys like kind of combine with the dolls?
Yeah, well, it so happened that one of my former students came to me with a small quilt that she had gotten for Project Linus, too small. Can you use it? Of course. So now every dog gets a blanket, and then in order to carry everything, we make a little tote bag too. So they get a doll, a blanket, and a tote bag. And we have now started, people are sponsoring a pillowcase.
Wow.
And for $5, you can sponsor a pillowcase, and we give those with the dolls that go to kids in foster care.
Okay.
Because sometimes they need something to put their things in. And so now every doll that goes to foster care also gets a pillowcase.
It's a really good idea. And so currently you've given over 63,000 away. And so can you tell everyone a little bit about how long it takes to make a doll, just to give them the idea of how much like volunteer need you guys have, and and how much money they are?
Yeah. Well, as you can see, the dolls are very well made. It takes 8 hours to make a doll. We make everything. We embroider the faces. We have an embroidery machine. We embroider the faces. Everything is handmade. But don't get the conception that you have to sew in order to be a part.
Yeah.
Because the dolls need dress. The dolls need hair made. The dolls need stuff. So there are so many volunteer opportunities here that people think, oh, I can't sew. Well, we like people who can sew, but we sure need other people too. So there are 14 steps in making a doll, from cutting out the pattern, from embroidering the faces, to cutting out the dresses, and as you see, we have boys too, cutting out all them. So there's so many volunteers that we could use in a lot of different aspects, even children. We can use kids come in here and help stuff and dress and match up. Then they have to match up the blanket and the tote bag.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of different volunteer opportunities. As far as cost, you cannot buy a doll. We've never sold a doll. People all the time want to buy one. You cannot. They have to be given to a child in need of comfort. As far as cost, there is cost as far as like buying the stuffing. We buy all new stuffing. We need things for the embroidery machine. We don't get a lot of hair color yarn. We need that, elastic. So there is some expense. Yeah. But anybody that wants to volunteer any type of fabric, what we can't use, we have a fabric sale, and we sell the things that we cannot use. So there's a lot of opportunities.
Awesome. So like every year, have you donated more than you've donated the year before? Like the need just gets higher and higher?
It does, and the agencies have to realize that we give them when we have them. So they can't call in and say, I need 50
Mhm.
dolls, tan dolls, brown dolls next week. And most of them know that. We try to give 120 a month or every 6 weeks to Metro Hospital. And that's for their inpatient, for their their foster care and child life.
So when you do volunteer stuff like on Tuesdays and Thursdays, you make about 120 like throughout the month. So is that like 40 a week, you think?
Yeah, probably do between 40 and 50 a week. Some of the people take things home. They make the clothes at home. They make hair at home. All the stuffing is basically done here. The dressing and that sort of thing is done here. But especially since we've been closed down for COVID and other things, there's been a lot of things that people are doing at home. And then coming in here, socializing, putting all their efforts together and coming up with a doll.
Okay. So what was your biggest year that, like, how many dolls you donated?
We probably average about 4 to 5,000 a year.
A year.
But that's not just from here, that's nationwide.
Okay.
So that's the other groups too. And every 5,000 we give a special doll. We make a special one that the hospital usually finds a child that really could use a doll, going through something, maybe going through radiation or chemo.
So is that like you choose every 5,000 between all 12 of the chapters which one it goes to, or just local?
Locally.
Okay.
Yeah, locally. Some of the other chapters, they're keeping track of how many they've made, and they give special dolls. But the numbers, the 63, almost 64,000, are from all the chapters. That's how many giving dolls have been made nationwide.
Wow. So what is your goal this year for 2022, just in the local chapter?
Well, we don't try to put a number because there's no way we can do that. But we just try to meet the needs of the agencies that call. My major thing right now, the newest thing is I'm working with a warden at Marysville Reformatory for Women, and we want to give dolls to the children who have a mother who's incarcerated.
Okay.
So that's our major thing. We hope by maybe Mother's Day that we can have dolls down there, and the mothers can give them out to the kids when they come visit.
Wow. And so obviously this is a nonprofit. You get money funded from all different types of people, right?
Right. Do write grants, and we get local donations, but there is expense to operating this, but we don't worry about, because the community is so giving, and people just, once they hear about kids and what they're going through, the community really wants to reach out.
I bet. That's awesome. Is there anything else that we haven't covered that maybe you want me to know about? Is there anything that you need in terms of maybe like another sewing machine or something big that there would be a donation from us maybe would be detrimental in purchasing?
Well, basically, I just got 100 pounds of fiberfill, and that's $190, and that will last us maybe a month and a half.
Okay.
So that's an ongoing, and we have to buy it new. We get it from Runyon Furniture, who gets it from Norwalk Furniture, who is the furniture manufacturer.
Okay.
So sometimes people will donate a half a bag of fiberfill, but I'm not sure where it's been. Everything has to be clean and new. We're always looking for yarn. You can see yarn for the hair. We're always looking for yarn. We have to buy that quite often. We buy elastic, because a lot of times we get the elastic and it's already lost its elasticity. So, and there's just different things that, so as far as sewing machines, I've been very fortunate. Baby Lock has donated sewing machines to us, so our sewing machines are good, but there's cost in repair.
Sure.
They're always breaking down, and our embroidery machine, when it breaks down, that's about $500 to repair.
Wow.
It doesn't break down too often, thank goodness, but so there is expense. We were able to purchase this building that we're at now, so we have overhead. Basically, we have no paid staff. Nobody gets paid. it all goes back to the making of the dolls and what we need to enable us to make dolls.
Okay.